When originally making my treated pages, I was a little apprehensive about the process. I thought that because it was called an artist book that I was going to have trouble coming up with an idea, being creative enough to push through the process, or trouble even figuring out the words that I wanted to use. However, once I began the process, I became more and more intrigued with the process of creating my treated pages and my artist book. I decided to name my artist book The Petals of Love, which I will explain in the slides to come. To begin, I would like to talk about my process. When reading the article, the first word that jumped out of the page to me was love, as you can see from my excerpt in the first page of the article. I continued after seeing that word and decided that I wanted to tell a story about love. When I decided to tell a story about love, I had to be intentional with my words of choice. I didn't want the story to be told with pieces missing that the reader or user would have to figure out for themselves. Since we could not have chunk text, it made it a little bit more difficult to find words that were not placed in a sentence together already. When reading a human myth, which was constructed from a human document, there are multiple reading paths, which were also nonlinear reading paths. For The Petals of Love, I wanted it to be one reading path that was linear for the main portion of the story. If the reader or user would like to take a different direction when it came to the path in which they decided to read, then that would be their decision. However, I didn't think it was necessary in order to tell the story at hand. It took a lot of time to come up with a cohesive story, however. When it came to time to pick my words, I did it intentionally. Therefore, there was not a lot of picking and unpicking. After determining which words I would like to use, I had to decide on a theme. There were so many creative ways that I could make my artist book. I started to think about the Book of Kells and how he created his illuminated manuscript based on what the pages were trying to portray. Therefore, I took that idea and tried to think about what a representation of love is. This is where I said flowers. One, because I can draw them decently, but also because flowers die just like how love in the movie Her died out. However, just like flowers, one's love can grow to become something amazing and everlasting, or it can die out and never grow again. Love your surprise. He learns ways women love. Love. In this first page, I wanted to focus on creating a character, creating an explanation for what is about to occur. That is why the flower on this page is just an empty canvas ready to be manipulated to reach its full potential. Therefore, I chose for there to be love by its lonesome, while also creating an image that can be seen throughout the story. The love is growing, not yet starting, but growing, to what may become a superpower for the character or what may become his kryptonite. When choosing words on the page, I started to think of the scale, pace, and pattern of the character's life. Like the character is an adolescent and learning what it means to love someone of the other sex romantically. He must learn the way in order to love correctly. I ended the first page with love as well, which continues the sentence onto page 2. Love offers a connect like a movie. When choosing these words, I was thinking of the media ecology. I feel as though literature and movies have a connect just like love does from human to human or matter to matter. I believe that love offers a connection, which is why the flower on this page starts to have color. Also, why none of the actual words that are in my artist book are in the flower, because he has yet to make a connection. Page 3 states, love comes from a transaction, unlike movies. I do believe that love comes from a transaction wholeheartedly. Love in movies is so simple. No worries, no troubles, just two people in love. Which is why the flower starts to gain more color. Because with knowledge becomes power, and with power becomes strength. Which is why the flower is starting to blossom. Page 4 states, a story of compassionate insight on a companionship with expectations, with. When it comes to this page, this is where I, the author, start to tear down his ideology of love. Therefore, the flower starts to lose its color. Like it is in fall time and the seasons are changing, and his love cannot withstand the elements of life stripping away his love's necessary nutrients to flourish. I ended the 4th page with the word with, which continues the sentence on page 5. With troubles. Seduction alone reminds him of trusting her. I created this page to acknowledge the subjectivity of love and memories. To me, I was leaving it up to the reader or user to make the determination of who the memory was about. However, since he has not loved before in a romantic fashion, I was thinking it was a guardian of his that failed him, which leading him to be skeptical of love and trust, which is why the flower is now dead. Page 6 states, leaving the suspicion, manipulation, desire, and fantasy, a fictitious need that overlords blame on isolation, technology, or imagination. At this point, we have reached the end of the artist's book. The overlords are society, and society has placed so many barriers on love and how love should be exhibited. Isolation, technology, and imagination can change someone's outlook on love in just a few moments, which can be dangerous to a naive mind, which is why the flower is now dead and all that is left is soil and an empty heart. I told a story of love that begins promising and ends in heartbreak. I wrote my artist book to have an ergodic flow, which gave a cohesive story that reveals the love is like nature, because it is a natural occurrence within humans. I felt like a scribe in this project, and it made me feel talented and creative to an extent. This was a joy to make, and I wish I was more artistically inclined. Thank you for reading my artist book.